like they see my TikTok, they don't see my podcast, they don't see all the other shit I'm saying. It's like, I know, you may not think I know what I'm doing, but I know what I'm doing. Like, I'm a business.
Let's do it.
Let's go.
Brianna LaPaglia on Behind the Blog.
Yes.
LaPaglia, Chickenfry, what do we do here? We go by Bri, Brianna, you got a million different names kind of now.
Well, I've been going by Bri because everyone called me Brianna, and that makes me go absolutely like ape shit. I hate that.
No
So
Brianna.
it's just Bri. Bri Chickenfry, I guess.
Chickenfry was, you just kind of threw that out there?
Yeah, I fucking hate it.
I
hate it so
girl,
much.
I can relate because
hate it.
I think KFC Radio is the worst name a podcast has ever had in the history of the world.
Yeah, but it's so good. Like,
No,
you
it's
hate
really
it.
not though. I mean, I just started it though so long ago, and I was just kind of like, that was back when we were throwing shit against the wall, and I was like, I don't know, like I listened to radio called WFAN, now I'm KFC, like just letters, radio, whatever, and then it stuck, and people were like, is it a podcast or a radio? Is it about chicken? Is it the... So we
kinda
equally
similar,
have dumb
yeah.
chicken names.
Chickenfry.
Where did Chickenfry come from?
Stupid. When I first started my TikTok, I was in college, I was drunk, and I was eating chicken fries from Burger King, and I had a viral Vine like years and years ago where I said that my leg looked like a chicken fry. I was like, this is perfect, I'll just do Brianna Chickenfry. Didn't think that it was gonna like stick and I was gonna be chicken fry, and now like people see me, they call me like Chicken McNugget, they just call me
Every
chicken,
variation.
they call me Chickie. I'm like, this is brutal. It's so brutal.
I mean, it's, in a way, I think it makes sense that like, it shows that you weren't like trying to force it, that it is kind of like a genuine story of like, I'm just a fucking chick making funny TikToks and all of a sudden it blew up. Like, it would almost be weird if you were like, what's my TikTok? Because one day I'm gonna be big, and
I know.
you know what I mean?
That
Then
kinda
you
is
probably
weird.
wouldn't be where you are today if you were that type of person, you know?
It's more organic. I had no
Yeah.
idea what was ahead for me at all.
Yeah, we've talked before about changing the name, and like, we don't have a good thing to change it to, but also there's enough like brand equity with that, like people know the name.
Yeah,
so
you can't.
like you change Chickenfry now, there might be people who are like, wait, what?
Who,
no,
you know?
yeah.
Yeah, that's like Mike Stud. He just goes by Mike now. It's like, I don't know about that.
I get why you try to do it, but like, it's too late.
It's too late.
You know,
yeah,
like,
you're
it's
too far
stuck.
in. You can't just change it all
And
up.
also, it's like, maybe you don't like it, but like, your fans either
They love it.
like it or don't care one way or the other.
Yeah,
you know
yeah.
what I mean?
No,
Just-
they eat
just
it up.
fucking name.
And it's easy, chicken fry.
Yeah.
My last name, no one can say it, so.
Yeah, that helps too. And like you said, Chicken McNugget, Chickie, like it
Yeah.
actually lends itself
Whatever.
to.
It's funny too.
But yeah, I did read that little bit about. I'm remembering that you said you just made it up on a whim in the New York Post article,
Yeah.
which is perfect timing to do this because I mean that's your first big
First
expose,
anything.
right?
Yeah, first big anything. I've never, like, during COVID, I got offered to do like a lot of press and whatever, but I like didn't realize how big I was becoming, and I didn't know that was important to do. Also, like, I have no idea what I'm doing. Like, I don't have anyone helping me, so I was just like, no, I don't need to do that. I'm just doing this. And then I told my mom about the New York Post, and she's like, you have to do that. I'm like, is that a big deal? And I guess it was a big deal. So.
Yeah, well, the way they did it too, like the photo shoot, and you're wearing
Yeah.
like the fancy clothes, and it's like, bam, that was pretty cool. I mean, the Post is, the Post, but that was a very cool moment, I thought, and I again, to go back to like me coming up with the name, like I can tell that you don't really, it's not like fully registering yet what's going on.
But I really don't think it ever will. You know what's weird that everyone keeps saying to me, and it's like blowing my mind? Like when I meet all my fans, when I do the college tour, when I even came back to the office and I just talk to people, they're like, why are you still so nice? Like, how are you still so nice? I'm like, what do you mean? Am I supposed to like switch and like turn into this mega bitch? It's
It
crazy
kind of
to
sucks
me.
that's what's expected.
I know.
But it kind of is. It's like, I don't know if it's a girl thing or if just other people in the past have done it where people just expect like, oh, that girl's like, peace. She's going to like leave us in the dust, you know?
I can never imagine doing that, though.
Don't.
I wouldn't.
There's just no reason to.
No.
I've always thought that about people who blow up. It's like, okay, you've made it. Fine. You want to be a bitch, you want to be an asshole, like, that's your choice. But wouldn't you want to just be, like, super successful and be known as a nice person?
Isn't that, like, the best of both worlds? And then you're, like, fucking awesome. No one's going to
Yes.
talk shit about you. There's nothing bad to say.
Right.
That's what I want. If I'm really big one day, I just want to be a nice person.
Now, I have learned, too, though, that there are times where, like, because of business, because of the industry, there's a lot of cutthroat shit, there's a lot of snakes that sometimes you need to behave in a way that some people might perceive as being a bitch, but you're like, if you knew the ins and outs, this is actually me just like protecting myself or protecting my business or whatever. So I can understand where certain things like that happen. But there's also just basic thing, like ways to be nice where it's just like, oh, and she's a sweetheart, and she's really down to earth. Like,
yeah, exactly.
Why would you not want to do that?
It's also harder for girls too, because you know you're perceived as a bitch when a guy does it. You're the
Absolutely.
man, you're the boss, and then if
Totally.
a girl does it, it's like, oh, she's a bitch. I don't want to work with her.
1000%.
I hate that double standard.
Yeah, I mean that's a huge, and also the comparing.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
And I mean I've said to you a million times before that I was like, I try to word it in the right way because I was like, I think you're the next Alex Cooper in terms of success.
Yeah,
Not in
yeah.
terms of like you're going to be her in terms of where you're headed because it's just only natural. I hate doing it, but it's like because there are still fewer girls in the space, it just makes sense to compare the two.
You've always been a big supporter.
I knew there was 2 moments where I knew you were like, I don't know if I knew it was gonna be this fast or how big it could really get, but I knew you were gonna be able to hang. You did Friday Night Pints, and it was actually how much you didn't like. You weren't nervous, and you just kind of like played back a little bit, like jumped in when you needed to, and like you did contribute, but you weren't overly into it. And it was just like, oh, you can read the room and like understand the social situation.
Yeah.
And then surviving Barstool. Was when
that was
I
crazy.
realized it was like
I forgot about that. Doesn't that feel like years ago?
So long ago.
That wasn't that long ago.
I know. Was
It's
it this
crazy.
year? It was.
Was it? 2000? Yeah, it was this year.
I mean, that's crazy.
That's really crazy.
I don't know if that's a COVID time travel thing or Barstool time travel or combined, but that feels like ages ago.
It really does.
What we're gonna do? There's only one person here who can make this vote.
No!
She has been here through the whole thing.
Oh my
She has
fucking
lived
God.
it, breathed it.
Oh my
She's
fucking
seen
God.
everything
Oh
behind
my
the
fucking
scenes,
God.
in front of the scenes, in front of the camera, behind the camera. Brianna, you cast the final vote. Bree, you're gonna go back to the vote room now. Right now. One vote
I can't
to
look
decide
at
it
either
all.
of you.
One for Tommy,
Are
one
you
for Nick,
fucking
one
serious?
vote
No
decides
one
it
else
all.
But that was when I knew, like, that was one of the crazier, like, content demands that we've ever made of people.
Yeah.
And obviously making it so far and being able to, like, that showed, like, your competitive side and your entertaining side and all that shit. Because at that point, I will admit, I was kind of like, all right, what the fuck's up? Like, she does TikToks. Like,
Yeah,
what else?
yeah.
You know, is there more to it? And I remember your intro for Survivor said something like, I want to show that I'm not just like some dumb drunk bitch or something
Yeah,
like that.
yeah.
And I was like, that's exactly what she went out and did. Like, you proved it like entirely.
Yeah.
Was there a moment for you that you like, or maybe you haven't had this yet, but have you had a moment where you're like, I'm doing this, or I've blown up, or I'm on the way, or?
Well, this college tour, so obviously I kind of blew up during COVID where I'm not interacting with my fans. Like I see a number on a screen that I have, but I don't really get that feedback where I get to see the impact I'm making or like the people that follow me. So my first college tour stop, Penn State, when we had a 6-hour line around the block to
6
see me.
hours?
We had to cut it off after 4 hours.
Bro.
I had to take a step back. I started crying. I'm like, what the fuck is this? Why are these people? I went into that saying, okay, yeah, we can have lunch, like we can chill. I'll help sell the merch. Like it's gonna be a chill day. People were lined up like 3 hours before it even started to see me.
Just like a meet and greet.
Just a meet and greet.
Like
and
sit
to
at
come buy
table,
merch.
hi, take a
Just
picture.
like hi, take a picture. And that was when I was like, holy shit, okay, this is like real, and I got to do this. Like, I have to do it.
Dude, who or what would you wait on a 6-hour line for?
That's what I'm saying. I'm like, why? What is going on?
know.
It's so crazy to me.
I know. I think everybody at Barstool who at least is a little bit grounded has a moment like that. Whatever your scale of success is, like I wake up every day sometimes being like, I don't get why anybody follows or anybody listens, or and I think a little bit of that is like they call it imposter syndrome or just weird mental health shit. But also sometimes I'm just like, I don't necessarily get it.
I don't get it.
I don't think I'm talented or overly this or that, but I'm happy people do it. But I've also never encountered anything like that. I mean, I've had attention, but I've never had a 6-hour line.
I know. I was like, what the fuck? But also, I think having that in the back of your head, like, why me? Like, I don't get it, also makes you more relatable. And that's like why we're good at what we do.
So that to me is the key that also scares me. It's like if your success is because you're normal and relatable and down to earth, but in your case, you're now seeing like not normal success, not very relatable success. Like you're not just like every girl.
I know.
At heart you are, maybe in your head you are, but like, so how do you maintain that? You know what I mean? Like for the most part, I've been able to just stay in this one realm. You're like fucking shooting out of it now.
Yeah, and that also scares the shit out of me, like all this pressure. It's like, okay, everyone thinks I'm doing so good and I'm going up. Like, what do I have to do next? Do I have to do crazier shit? Like, do I have to act like a different person? Do I have to switch it up? I'm like really scared for the future now, where it's like I liked being stagnant because I'm like, oh, I'm comfortable, it's working, I'm doing it, and now, fuck, all these eyes on me. Like, what next? What do I have to do? But I also just, I've always just known I'm gonna do it and I'm gonna be good at it, and I don't know, it's kind of working.
So has that always been like you as a person? Go back, like, has that always been a trait of yours where you're like confident in yourself? You know you're gonna, whatever the challenge is, like you're nervous, but you know you're gonna do it.
Yeah, very quietly confident though.
Yeah,
like kind of like you said on Friday Night Pints. Like I knew I was fine. Like I didn't need to step in. I knew like I didn't have to like make a name for myself or like try to talk over people. Like people are gonna know me and it's gonna come when it comes. But like
exactly
that's always been me. I've known quietly, I'm good. I got this. But I don't. But then it's like kind of scary to say that out loud now because I don't.
I know. I know. It's like not so quiet if you're saying it, but like so as a kid, what like in sports or school or social?
I was my dad's fourth daughter, and
I
so
didn't realize that.
He raised me like a complete, like I should be a lesbian right now. Like I was playing football, I was playing hockey, every single sport I played. And I come from an athletic family, super competitive. Yeah. So like sports were my thing. And when I got to college, and I played sports for a little bit and I stopped, I was like, what the fuck? Like I need something to like, I don't know, motivate me. Like school, that wasn't clearly what I was supposed to be doing. So I was like, all right, let me do this social media shit. It's kind of like a competition in a way.
Yeah, where it's like, I mean, there's a scoreboard, how many followers you get, how many retweets or whatever in TikTok.
But mine was kind of slow, like gradual, but my engagement is so crazy. Like I have 1.3 million on TikTok, right?
This bitch said only.
Okay, but listen.
This bitch said only.
Okay, listen. There's so many people with like 20 million followers on TikTok, right? And then they have like 300,000 on Instagram and they get 20,000 likes. Like mine, I have 1.3, almost 300,000, and I get like the engagement is crazy.
Way higher. Yeah,
people are really there to see me. So it
which is
slowly.
All that really matters.
Yeah,
you know
exactly.
What I mean? Like obviously you want to have the biggest audience possible, but if you have a small audience but they all buy a shirt, they all buy a ticket, that's almost more valuable than, you know. I always look at Lena Dunham, who has like 5 million followers, and she'll get like 2 retweets and a like. It's like physically impossible.
Isn't it crazy?
It's like, what? Did all these people die? Like, where are these followers?
Because no one actually like you. Did you buy these people? It's crazy.
Probably, pretty much. So when you have that real audience, that's the goal, and you've done it through like being organic, you know. It's like, and maybe you don't get 20 million because some of the shit you do might turn some people off, but the people who do fuck with it
hard.
Yeah. And that's so you're the youngest of 4 girls. All girls, no boys.
No boys. Well, I found out I had a brother when I was like 13.
Later in life. All right, we'll get into that. So and you were born where?
In Boston, South Boston.
In the city, right?
Yeah,
and
I grew up
moved
in
to the burbs
city.
quick?
I grew up in the city until I was 12.
No, okay. So that's like long enough that you.
Oh yeah, I had a kind of weird childhood.
Yeah. So that I think is like also an important part of who you are and why you are the way you are today. Like, city kids are different.
They really are.
Right? I mean, like, I've always said, like, people who grow up in Manhattan are fucking weird because it's just, like, not a normal setting for a kid.
I know.
It's places for business and money and
bizarre.
fucking drugs and sex and partying, not for, like, a kid who wants to climb a tree and ride a bike. You know what I mean?
It's bizarre. Whenever I'm driving, like, coming to work and I see kids, like, on the schoolyard and shit, I'm like, what the hell? How do you grow up here? It's bizarre to me.
They all go to Central Park. They all have the same backyard. It's Central Park.
Yeah,
you know?
it's crazy.
But I mean, you see like kids like smoking cigs and riding the subway. I'm like, you guys are scary. You
Really
know?
scary. You're cooler.
But so like 12 years old is certainly old enough to like, you've got friends and boys and sports and all that shit in like a city setting is gonna, it's, you know, it's, I think it's much more like sink or swim, you know, like a cutthroat little world for like a girl to grow up in.
Yeah.
And that was like, did you like that? Were you like, do you look back on that like you enjoyed your time there or?
Yeah, I mean,
Like when you said you had a weird like, what does that mean?
I had a different childhood. Okay, so I have 3 sisters, but they're half sisters from my dad's first marriage. 2 of them are like super bad drug addicts and they were in super horrible abusive relationships. So I saw a lot of fucked up shit growing up.
Okay.
And also my parents were working 2 jobs each. So I'm basically an only child at home all the time by myself. Like they couldn't afford childcare, so I, after school, would walk home. I was 2 blocks away from my school, so I'd walk home, lock the door, be at home until 8 o'clock at night by myself. So I had a lot of time to just, you know, be by myself. It was scary. I kind of like raised myself in a way. Had great loving parents, but like they were working, and then I have these fucked up siblings, right, who I see like this crazy shit, and then I have like my drug addict uncle sleeping in my basement that I see ODing when I'm like 8. So there's just a lot of crazy shit I saw growing up where I think I matured really fast. And like everyone that I meet now, they're like, oh, I thought you were like 28. Like you just act like you're 28. I'm like, no, man, I'm really just a kid still.
Yeah.
So that's crazy. I think that also just like made me into who I am because it was just a different upbringing. And then I moved to the suburbs. No one's like me. I'm like,
oh my
you
God.
guys have no idea. You have no idea. Like when I was a city kid, me and my friends after school, we would get our scooters. I don't know how old I was like 11. We'd ride our scooters and pick up cigarette butts that we found off the ground and just pretend to smoke. I'm like, that was our fun. And then we'd walk up to the park where like everyone's drinking beers, and it was just a bizarre little way to grow up and then get removed from and then go to the suburbs.
The cushiest spot, yeah.
And then I'm in like this beautiful neighborhood with all these kids playing manhunt and like it was just so different. Like half the shit I had already seen, they didn't get until we were in high school.
Right.
Yeah.
And so what, like you're able to see that as like an 8-year-old, 9-year-old, 10-year-old, but clearly didn't fall into any of that.
Yeah, no.
Is that your parents got you out in time, or do you think the way you protected yourself from that or stayed away from it?
I think it was just one of those things where it's like you see what you don't want to be, so you know you'll never be like that. Also, my mom got a double knee replacement. She will only take ibuprofen. She's like so against anything. And then, which is crazy because my brand is like partying and drinking. So a lot of people are like, well, you shouldn't be doing that. But partying isn't going anywhere. And my whole message is like, you can get drunk, smoke weed, have fun. Like you don't need to do all this crazy shit. I talk about drugs all the time and how, I mean, I do shrooms. That's not that crazy. But I feel like I'm like a good party influence to look up to because I'm not out here just like slanging coke and doing like all the crazy shit that a lot of people on social media
You didn't invent this shit, like you said.
Yeah, exactly.
It's not the first, not the last.
Anywhere. Yeah.
And you might as well be. I also think there's like Bert Kreischer is a very famous comedian who like drinks a ton and is also like one of the most successful and smartest businessmen in the game.
Yes.
If you can, you know, the point is to be able to like balance it and do it. Like when I used to do the Mail Time podcast, I was all about being like miserable at work and like, you know, mailing it in and not get, but people would email me or call, you know, DM me, whatever, being like, dude, I got fired today because I didn't do my work. Like fucking Mail Time. Like no, that's not the point here. The point is like to still get your shit done, but have a fun time and like work the system and so this is like Yeah.
Same
I
thing.
don't want you
Mine's
to drink
like,
yourself to
work hard,
death, you morons.
Play hard. Yeah.
Yes.
Like you work hard, then you can play hard, but there needs
Yes.
to be a balance. And then like this whole college dropout thing, people are like, "Oh, you just inspired me to drop out." It's like, no, I'm trying to inspire people to just like do what makes them happy.
Succeed, yeah.
Succeed. In my case, it was dropping out and finding my path, but that's not yours. Like I'm just saying like, okay, if you want to change your major, do it, or you want to go after this new career, do it. Break up with your boyfriend, do it. But not everyone drop out of college.
No, right. I mean, you got very lucky in certain regards. You put yourself in the right spot.
Yeah.
And college wasn't the right path for you. A lot of people should be the the path.
Exactly.
If you have another alternative, go do it. But I know that's a tough spot where you do like. It's like the role model thing, where it's like, I didn't sign up for this. I don't want to be like your life coach.
Yeah.
But you do also acknowledge that like certain people, especially you, like young girls, are gonna look up to you, and you don't want to like misguide them. But at the same time, it's not your responsibility.
I know.
Like, that's not what I signed up for. I signed up to like make funny shit, make people laugh, entertain them, right? Like that was the goal from the jump.
And then it falls under like this umbrella where it's like that. And like I'm very aware of like what people like. I know the negative side of it where people are like, oh, that you're like a horrible influence. You're just like being drunk and like telling these girls to do this. But they also don't like see, like they see my TikTok. They don't see my podcast. They don't see all the other shit I'm saying. It's like, I know, you may not think I know what I'm doing, but I know what I'm doing. Like I'm a business.
Absolutely.
And
I mean, you
that's
are
how
a
it works.
one-woman like industry right now.
Yeah, and you have to cater to the audience.
I guess it sucks where it's like you can't expect everybody to sit down, listen to an hour of the podcast, then watch the TikToks, then watch the BFFs, But, you weren't one video. You aren't like one thing.
Yeah.
But people will judge you on that. And that's where I think you got to just like kind of block it out.
I know. That's where like, because it's so new to me, where that frustrates me a lot. I'm trying not to like scream at everyone, but like, this is what I'm doing, this is how I'm doing it, but I have to realize not everyone's gonna understand.
No, and that's where you gotta just like stay the course. If you're trying to please everybody and explain yourself at all times, like you're gonna go fucking
crumble.
crazy. All right, so you're 8, you move to the burbs after a few years, and you're what? You're like the bad city bitch. Like are girls like, whoa, guys like, whoa.
We moved with you should have saw the car my dad had. I was so embarrassed. We pull up with like this Lincoln Cadillac, like it's like so fucking old. He had to drive me to school. I'm like, I don't want no.
Drive me up around the corner, I'll just walk.
Yeah, I was so embarrassed.
And is this like a swanky town? Like you're in a bougie town now?
Yeah. Well, not bougie, but like bougie neighborhood. We're in like the only nice neighborhood. But we moved there because my cousins live there, and they're like my only normal family. So it's my dad's sister. We're neighbors. We actually bought the house next to them. So I grew up having them as my sisters, which was awesome. So I move into town with them, and they're telling all their friends like, all right, my cousin's coming. Like we have to be nice to her. Like I don't know, she's a little different. We gotta be cool. And I come in, and like you can just tell like everyone was like, what the fuck? I don't know. I was just so different than all the other kids, and I mediated my way into it, and I kind of just rounded everyone up. I'm like, no, this is the friend group. This is what we're doing.
Really?
And just made it work.
So so even at that age is kind of where you're like a leader, or you're prone to like take things in your own hands.
My friends have called me boss. It's funny.
Yeah?
Yeah, it's kind of crazy. We're like the aces, and I'm the boss. It's kind of bizarre now looking back at it.
I mean, that really says so much, though. It's like
I know.
Sometimes, like when I'll do these interviews, sometimes people are like, I never had any indication that I was going to be this, that, or the other thing. But then in some cases, it's like a lot of the writing was on the wall in a lot of different ways that this was going to happen one way or the other. But it sounds like you never had like, maybe you were confident in social settings and in yourself and all that, but you're not sitting there thinking like, all right, so 10 more years, I'll be, a superstar.
No. I always thought I was going to be behind the scenes. So when I moved to the suburbs, I got my first laptop for Christmas that year, and I was like the first one with a laptop, and I was like, let's make movies. So I would direct movies on my laptop I would hold auditions for everyone in my neighborhood, and I would direct them.
Are you fucking kidding me?
I know, crazy. And I still have them too. And we would direct them, then I got a waterproof camera so we could get like underwater shots of my little pool in my backyard. And like
Above ground?
Yeah.
Fuck yes.
Yeah. Then 2 years later, we got the
in-ground.
Yeah.
Leveled up.
So I was doing that. We were making all these scary movies, and like I would write all the plots and the characters, but I liked being behind the scenes. And I don't know. Now I look back and I'm like, okay, like it was all there in front of me. Like, I guess I should have.
Dude, that is fucking like
I know.
You're like 12 years old. You're holding auditions. Like next, like
know.
come
No,
on
it
in
was
and like
bizarre.
making movies. That's also such a perfect story about like the timing of it all. Because
Mm-hmm.
if you're born like 10 years earlier, 20 years earlier. You know,
work.
you can do, like I said, we would have like fucking big clunky
Yeah,
camcorder
yeah.
or whatever, but you in your hands, in your laptop, you've got like a whole fucking movie studio.
iMovie
You start to-
changed my life.
Yeah, right? I mean, for real. So you teach yourself how to do that.
I teach myself how to do that. Then it turned into like music videos, and then we started doing skits, and then Vine came along. That was like the first platform that I found, and
What age is
loved
that?
it. I think I was 13, so I was in high school, and you get made fun of if you post videos, right? So I was like, fuck it.
Really?
Yeah. Like I got
I
made
don't
fun
think I
of
realized
hard,
that.
but like.
Like being a social media kid at that point was like, you're a nerd, you're a loser?
Yeah, because well, not like that, but I was like being funny on it, and I feel like a lot. I don't know.
Like goofy?
Yeah, like
Yeah.
telling jokes and shit. Like I remember, like I made one, like drop the soap type of joke on it, and I got shit for it for so fucking long because it's your freshman year of high school. All the girls are trying to be like pretty and popular and fit in, and here I am being a douchebag on Vine. And people are like, "What the fuck? Like you're a weirdo." But then I was just like, "No, fuck it." And then I started blowing up on Vine, and people were like, "Oh no, this is so cool."
Yeah,
I'm
oh,
like,
now you
"Fuck
come around.
Yeah.
Fuck off.
I hated that so much.
I think one of the biggest like misconceptions or most warped things is the way weird is viewed. You know, like if you view weird as a negative, you're fucking probably lame. You're probably boring. You
Yeah.
know, like weird, different, creative, interesting, intriguing is where it's at.
I say that about everyone. Everyone always asks me how people at Barstool are like. I'm like, everyone's a weirdo.
Everyone's got
Everyone's
their
a
own weirdo lane.
And if you
know?
weren't a weirdo, like you can't do what we're doing.
Right, and I also love that it started out with all guys, obviously, so it was always that we're frat boys. None of us were in frats.
No, I know.
That were like party animals. Like, yeah, we got down, but nothing
Yeah.
crazy. That we're all like banging chicks and wild party. It's like, we're all internet nerds.
It's like the complete
I'm on my
opposite.
blog today. I'm worried about my
opposite.
followers and my engagement.
Yeah,
you know? And
it's crazy.
Like, the furthest thing from any of that, and I'm sure it's the same kind of shit for girls. Where it's
Oh,
like,
yeah.
I mean, yeah, you were like on your iMovie, you know, editing and
Yeah, I was like
not
always a weirdo.
Right.
Yeah.
But what's weird as a kid always ends up coming out like as an adult. That's actually pretty cool. That's a talent.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
You look back at it. Yeah, my parents always thought it was so cool, and I'm like, what? You don't get it? Like it's so easy. But now I look back, I'm like, okay, that was
No.
actually really cool.
That absolutely is like a talent, and you know, yeah, I can't do any of this shit. You know.
I know.
Like not only because I wasn't coming up with it, but also my brain just doesn't work like that, you know.
Yeah.
So you've got like both sides of it. When did you think so when you start making your own Vine videos, that's when you're like the star, if you
Yeah,
will,
yeah.
and that's when you realize you can be on the other side of the camera.
Yeah, that's when I started liking it. But like at the same time, Vine was so new, so I didn't like see a feature in it, and then it gets deleted. So I'm like, oh, there goes that.
That was crazy.
Yeah, really fucking crazy.
I still don't fully grasp what happened there because
I know.
that was like blowing up. I mean, it was like the
platform.
spot. Yeah,
It was the spot, and then
there was money issues, right? Like people
Yeah.
weren't getting paid enough, and they
something
band together.
stupid.
Yeah.
Something like that. So then Vine goes away, and I'm like, okay, YouTube.
How many followers did you have?
Oh God, I don't remember. Not a lot. Like maybe like 20,000.
Okay, so there's something. But
Yeah. So I had like a few viral videos where I was like, oh, this is sick.
Do you remember like one of them?
Yeah, the chicken fry leg went
that was
viral.
right, okay.
Like I used to make.
What was that? You were just like, look at my legs. They look like
Yeah, I was
chicken
like,
fries?
yeah, stupid shit. And then, I would do like skit comedy, like little because it's 6 seconds, so you have to tell a
Right.
joke really fast. So I would
Right,
just
right,
do
right.
that, and I was super ugly, like so it worked. Like I had braces and pimples, and it was it played well. It was like, oh, look at this freak.
I
making
love.
this
I
shit.
always see some variation of a tweet go viral. That's basically a girl being like, I grew up ugly, so I'm like funny and have a personality, and then I got hot, so I'm like the best of both worlds.
Yeah, it's
And it
perfect.
really is like, you know, you grow up if you're like pretty and you're in the suburbs and everything's cushy and easy, like, you know, you're probably not gonna you don't go through anything.
Yeah.
You don't have anything to you, you know?
You're just so dense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then so you're like the ugly duckling, making videos, being nerdy, and then when do you think do things start to change anytime soon, or is this not until like later in life where you really are like this persona?
I would say so. I was always like that in high school. Like I was always just myself in high school. I did fall into the trap of like trying to be someone I wasn't, like hanging out with all the popular. I was a cheerleader, so like I was friends with those people, and I found myself. I remember it was like junior year, where I was like, oh, I kind of like hate the person I am.
Really?
Yeah, because my best friend moved away and everyone was so mean towards her. And like I realized I was mean towards her and I was like, holy shit, like I just don't like the person I'm becoming. And then all the seniors left and I'm a senior. And I'm like, okay, I can just focus on me, like actually be like, I don't know, a decent fucking person.
Interesting. Because they're not there to like
yeah,
pressure you.
Yeah, like I'm like, okay, now we're the top dogs. You don't need to be something you're not. So I don't know. I used to have parties at my house. I was like the party house and I would invite everyone. Like I would invite the band kids. It was like crazy. I was the first person to ever just invite everyone for senior skip day. We had it at my house. Invited the whole grade, like all the weirdos, all the losers. And we had the best time ever. Everyone's like, oh, you guys are actually super cool. I'm like, this is what I've been trying to tell you because I had classes with all those kids.
Honestly, to me, this is like fascinating because
I know, I never
like,
talked about any of this shit either.
That's the stuff that people should know.
Yeah.
You know, like that's the thing that makes you different. That's the thing that makes you not be a bitch about the fact that now you're having some success. Like you always kind of were trying to be inclusive and not being stuck up about it.
I was definitely shitty for like a couple years in high school, but not like shitty.
But to be able to like recognize that,
yeah,
like most people either don't, or if they do, they're kind of like, but whatever, because I want to be I want to have friends, I want to be popular, or too late, to be like, all right, I'm going to stop doing that and make the change at what, like 17, 18 years old is like wild and mature. That's like, you know.
That comes from my dad. He's like he's the biggest heart ever, and he's just always, when I was little, when I lived in Boston still, he would tell me two things when I went to school. He would say, learn something new and treat people how they treat you. So he was like, if someone fucks with you, you fuck with them. Yeah. So it's like, I always had that mentality.
The message isn't like be nice to everyone.
No, it's not at all.
Be nice to the people who are nice. Yeah. But like my mom always used to be like if you get punched, you punch back.
Yeah, exactly.
She's like, don't throw the first punch, but you can fight back. And she was always like, don't worry about getting in trouble with like teachers or principal. Like, worry about me. Like, if I'm okay with it, then like we're good.
Same
so,
here.
Like,
it's a good mentality to have.
Yeah, because then you don't become soft. You don't become a pushover.
You don't get walked all over.
But you're not like an asshole to people. Yeah. I won. Did you win any like senior superlatives that exist in your school?
Oh yeah, stupid best hair.
That's a good one to have.
Best hair, yeah.
I won. It's so embarrassing. I won, and it makes no sense when people know me now. When I went to the block, I won biggest heart.
Biggest heart?
Which was basically like the
so
biggest
cute.
fucking loser. But
the biggest simp.
It was strictly because I was just like nice to everybody.
Yeah.
Like I didn't fall into any of that.
Yeah, just nice to everyone that you come across.
Yeah, and I think it might be. I kind of had a similar upbringing in the sense of like I lived in the city for a little bit, and then because I moved into a town where like everybody grew up the whole way together,
right there, yeah.
And I was the outsider. I was always kind of like, I don't know, I'm not really impressed with you, and I don't care what your history is, and but you're cool and you're nice, and I don't know. I just felt like it was easier to like just be cool with everybody.
Yeah.
But that is the type of like. That blend, you have to make sure you keep that edge a little bit though.
Yes.
Because in this, if you take that mentality into this business, we're like, everybody's cool, everybody's my friend, and we like, somebody's gonna stab you in the back, someone's gonna, you know? Yeah. So as long as you still have that like, that eye out for who deserves it and who doesn't.
Oh yeah, I can read people really well.
Yeah, I also learned in Surviving Barstool. Yeah. 'Cause I was in the cut just watching everything happen, and I could see who was like, just not, just gonna get bowled over.
There was a lot of shit not shown in Surviving Barstool, but I was like, I knew everyone's next move, and no one would fucking listen to me.
I know.
I'm like, listen to me. I know what I'm talking about.
You know what's so funny? Think about what would happen if you did Surviving Barstool right now.
Oh,
like if you did season 2 right now, how different would that be?
It'd be so
I
different.
think you would be the absolute alpha of that whole fucking crew.
Oh, me too.
Like,
and I wouldn't be scared to do it.
No.
I was like a little intimidated by that.
Yeah.
That was my first Barstool thing really ever.
I mean, you were like, I was watching the whole thing where I was like, I want to be like, she's got the answer over here. Like you would say things like, I think the idol's fake, and I was like,
I said it so many times. I'm like,
fucking, she said
Tommy's lying. The idol's fake. This is all fake, and everyone's like, no.
And then you fucking voted for him.
Because
what?
Because he outsmarted all of them. All of them. I know.
You voted like very honorably there.
Yeah, I was like, all right, he did what he
deserve it.
He fooled every single one of them. Didn't fool me, but he fooled all of them. And then Nick
yeah.
just is nice, so he made it to the end.
Yeah, man, that was. But I could see that. I was like, this girl is like got that like.
I tried.
She saw the Matrix on the whole thing.
Yeah.
I feel like that's kind of how a lot of this success is coming about. I think. I mean, your merch is fucking nuts. Like
it's bizarre.
That's something you could put out. You almost should do a little like social experiment. Design a shirt that you fucking hate.
See what happens.
Like stupid slogan, stupid logo, ugly color, and I swear to God, they'll rock it.
I know, it's crazy. But my merch, like I put a lot of, I feel like a lot of people just like let sales or whatever like mock it up and do it. But like the merch, I'm like, I know what I need to make, what it needs to look like, what it needs to say to cater to the college girls. Like I know what it needs to say for people to buy it. And merch is big. It's like my baby. I really love my merch.
That's where people don't realize like you can just become a business unto yourself.
Oh
like,
yeah.
Sure, you can sell some sponsorships and podcast ads and stuff, but if you can just make and sling merch, you're fucking making money till the day you die.
Yeah.
You know, as long as that keeps up.
Yeah.
People used to like kind of like laugh about T-shirts. Like, granted, back in the day we were selling just like goofy T-shirts, not like real clothes. But it was like, yo, T-shirts kept the lights on for a long time here.
It's bizarre.
And now, you know, I mean, you've got real clothes, you've got accessories, you've got a whole brand to yourself. That's like, that was like, again, by design, or like that started out like you put one on sale, you realize it works. No. You put two on sale, you realize, okay, I've got a thing here.
Before Barstool, I had a sweatshop in my
in
my college house. I made my first hungover sweatshirt on Etsy. This was before I even got hired. I bulk ordered and I sold out. I had to say I sold out because I sold 600 and didn't have enough time to make it.
Holy shit.
So I had to bulk order from Amazon a bunch of white sweatshirts. I had to get like these prints made and mailed to my house. I had to iron each one on, and I did it all by myself, pack them all by myself, mail them all by myself. So I knew that I wanted to do that. And then when I came to Barstool, they were like, oh, we could just make this for you. I'm like,
oh my God.
It's like, what? You don't know what I went through, the
Yeah.
stress. Like, and on top of that, it was like finals week. I was in school still. I had a job. I was babysitting. It was bizarre. So I started merch in my living room at my college house.
Do people know that?
I don't think so.
See, like that is also where like you deserve every ounce of credit, every single follower, every bit of money, every ounce of fame. Because like there are gonna be people who just like come to a place like Barstool or to a big conglomerate and they are like, it's like we can write the song for you.
Yes.
You just get in the booth and sing it. But it's like, no, I was writing. You're basically like a person who writes their own music.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
It's like I was already doing this, and it's not just that you took me and made me into something.
Yeah.
Like Barstool's amplified it and
you
pushed
have the
it.
resources.
But you were going to be doing this anyway.
I would have found
You're
a
now
way
just doing
to
it
do
on
it.
a larger scale.
Exactly.
But the fact that you're ironing your own fucking merch.
I cried for it took like 5 days. I cried for every hour of it. It was awful. My roommates hated me. The whole living room was just boxes and boxes. It was crazy.
Now, are you doing that at that point for money or for like the satisfaction?
I barely made any money
Really?
off of it. Like
That's the
I
worst.
barely made any money.
By the time you ship it out and all
It was
that,
like
it's like you're making like $3 a shirt.
Yeah, it was.
So you're
bizarre.
doing it for like the
I did
satisfaction
it because
of,
then everyone's tagging me in my hoodies. Everyone's talking about it. They're posting videos in it. That to me was like, oh my God. That was my first like, oh my gosh, people are buying my stuff and
that was
tagging me in it.
hungover.
That was just hungover. White hoodie, red wording.
It's so simple. You
so
know, it's
simple.
like you think about the designs people come up with. It's like no. Just fucking slap some words on it.
And then merch too. Like I feel like merch, people want to like just put their name on it, and it's like you need to make it, I don't know, make it mean something. No, not everyone's just gonna wear a KFC or a chicken fry shirt. Like
I hate people. There's not one
you're
shirt.
So full of yourself when you do that shit. I'm like, come on.
But then I also sometimes I think it's funny. I think that about myself, but I would tell you it's crazy that there's no chicken fry shirt.
I know.
But
one day.
I understand totally where you're coming from. Being
that.
like, there's not one shirt that just says like KFC Radio.
No.
Again, because I hate the fucking name, but also because I'm like, no, I'd rather like put a fucking moon man on it or put this this
and
thing
then
that
it
looks
feels
good
more
on
of like
it.
yours, and it's like I created this, I did this. I didn't just slap my name and expect people to buy it because it says KFC or chicken.
Totally with it, but also, like if I was merch, or I was like your producer or something, I'd be like, I get it, but shut the fuck up. We're putting this on sale.
I know.
That mentality is such an interesting one because it's one I almost every guest I talk to, I like to get into it because I there's that imposter syndrome feeling, and there's that, for me, I was always so self-deprecating and so hyper aware of like, I don't want to be, I don't want to be arrogant. I don't want to be narcissistic. But now looking back, I wish I was a little more like assertive, a little more like, at least in terms of like just recognizing what's going on and reminding people. Because, you know, if I always joke to this day, I'm like, yeah, we just do this fucking like stupid podcast where we joke around about our dicks. And people are like, yeah, they just do some stupid podcast where they joke around about their dicks. And it's become something more than that.
Yeah.
And I wish I just like, let in a subtle way.
Let yourself have it.
Yeah, and let certain people know too, though. Like, let the people who hate and doubt know every now and then, like, no, we sold this out, or we hit this level.
Yeah.
But I'll never be the one to like talk about myself.
I know.
So I just wish going back, like if I never did content at your age, so that's even crazier how much of a head start you have. But that was one of my regrets, is that I wish I was a little less self-deprecating and a little more.
Well, when I did the
assertive.
New York Post, they were kind of like, when they were interviewing me, they were falling into those questions. Where like, oh, like, so all you do is go to colleges. Why do you want to go to colleges and drink? And I was like, no, actually, I do all this. I do so much more. So I feel what you're saying.
Good
and
for
I
you.
wasn't like that in the beginning. I was just like, yeah, that's what I do.
Because you know people like that are going to try to just push a
Oh,
certain
yeah,
narrative
I was so scared
and tell
for
a
that to
story.
come out.
Yeah. Hit pieces are just so fucking grimy.
So
They take one word and one clip.
Those people are villains. They're
They
just
absolutely
fucking
are.
villains. It's so they're so scary.
And what's crazy to me is like, so you want to get your clicks, right? I get it. But like, if you were to really like sit down with me and like, let's do this right, you'll still get your fucking clicks.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, you don't have to be a shitbag about it. Like, do it right, and I'll promote it, and we can do it together.
And then everyone's happy.
But that's more of the mentality. Like most people in high school are just, I'll hang out with the cool kids. I'll do the easy way. Your way of thinking is unfortunately not like the way most people do.
Yeah. I give people too much credit.
Yes, which is, that's another thing you learn like quickly, where it's like, I think, like you start out nice, and then unfortunately maybe as time goes on, you're like,
It's your villain story.
It really does kind of become that way. I cannot imagine doing content and being as big as you are at your age either. Like I've never had that level of success, but also at your age, I wasn't even thinking about any of this shit.
Yeah.
You got such a head start. You realize that? Like
I know.
by the time you're like 30, you'll have like 10 years in the game of
That's true.
Like more than that of just like I was making movies when I was 12.
Yeah.
But as far as like I was
Actual experience.
in this fucking industry for a long time.
I know. That actually is really bizarre to look at. What? I was 20 when I first came to Barstool, I think. Like when I first started my internship or came to visit. And I didn't realize how bizarre that was. I was like, Jesus, I'm 20.
That's young.
And now 22, doing all this shit. It is really scary because like at the end of the day, like I am 22. I don't have all these life experiences or like all this knowledge. So I'm like, I could fuck up at any given time. And like, what am I gonna do about it? My parents don't get what I'm doing.
I was just gonna say that. Your parents have no clue, right? Your parents are probably like 35, right?
My parents, my mom's 60th birthday's tomorrow.
Oh, right, because you're the youngest, right?
Yeah,
So there's some experience there. But
yeah,
like you are on this track that's like all yours, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like you can look up to Rhea, you can see an Alex Cooper, there's other girls and guys in the industry, but like not exactly yours, not in the way you did it, and there's not many people you can turn to and be like, what next?
I know.
Or what do I do? You
I know.
But I think what's good is when you fuck up, if you fuck up, that's the podcast for the day. That's the video.
I know.
Like people roll with that and they like that. That's what works.
Also, what's good is like I put on this whole thing where I'm not perfect. I'm going to fuck up. I have fucked up.
Set that bar low,
I
girl.
cover everything. I'm like, I fucked up a lot when I was younger. So when that comes back to haunt me, I already told you guys that.
What do you mean though? Like
I was
real
just,
fuck
like,
ups or like little
not
like
real
everything that
fuck-ups,
kids do?
But I was just like, I don't know, I was like a shitty little kid. Like I would do what everyone else did to be cool, to try to fit in. Like, I don't know. I just like, I wasn't a perfect kid where I feel like a lot of people on social media put on this, like in my realm, like TikTok, all these TikTokers, they try to be like these, I'm gonna save the world, I'm gonna change the world, I'm a peacemaker, I'm perfect. I say, I do not want to be that. I do not get that. You're setting yourself up for failure. You can't, it's just unrealistic. No one's realistic about it. And if you're realistic about it, then you're ahead.
Right.
You do better.
And if you go do it, like, fine, but you're like the one in a zillion who like save the world.
Yeah, exactly.
I like, who do you relate to in the social media world?
This is always the hardest question for me. Which is weird for me, I don't really consume a lot of social media. I used to. When I was younger, YouTube was my big thing. I loved YouTube. I didn't really watch anything else. Cody Ko, I love his humor. I love his podcast. He's kind of been like my mentor without knowing he's my mentor type of thing. Like I take a lot of notes from him and like what he does and how he does it. And
have you connected with him? I know he's been on
he
BFS
follows
before.
me, but I'm scared to like reach out to him.
Really?
He's like one of those.
That's crazy.
Where I'm like,
He's a nice dude.
I know, but he scares me a little bit. And also, like, you know, when you really like love someone and look up to them, you're scared if you meet them that it will ruin it for you.
Never meet your heroes.
So I'm like, I just think that would ruin it for me.
I get that, but Cody is, in my very brief experience with him, he's
great.
Like a normal ass dude.
I know. Yeah. I figure. So he's one. I don't have any like girls that I really ever looked up to. That's why I get so confused and scared because I don't know the path.
You're blazing the trail, like, you know what I mean?
So.
Not like there are
there's
other
a
girls,
million other,
but like you're not a D'Amelio, you're not an Addison Rae, like there's a very tangible difference because you're real. That feels very fabricated in a way. Not fabricated, it's not like they're fake, but it's just like, I dance or I'm happy and I'm this. It's like, you're like, this is how it really goes.
Yeah, they got famous for being like hot and pretty and like people, I get all these followers from people actually, they like the way I talk and like how I talk, which that's really different. And I give a lot of people credit for that on TikTok, whether like the Charli D'Amelios and Addison or whatever, they have like hundreds of millions of followers. But if you can gain 1 million followers from just talking and being you, I give you way more credit than anything
like
else.
We were saying earlier, it's like 100 million, but a lot of those are going to be like
it's like
empty follows.
That's a crazy number.
That
it's
is
ridiculous.
I mean, that's like, you know, a massive country.
Yeah,
it's like
insane.
That's an insane fucking number. But you do have like the looks to then go along with it. Like it is kind of a nice benefit. Is that something that you like recognize and realize?
No, I hate that.
I know. I mean, I could never fully understand, like, get inside the mind of a girl when it comes to like looks and
it's horrible.
attractiveness or whatever. But it's also like for your success and your business and your life and all that, it's almost something you should understand. Like, it's like by denying it or by being like, oh, I don't know, like, but like you're an attractive girl, you're pretty. Like that can be, you know, a tool thing. Or useful or whatever. As long as it doesn't be like it's not the only thing about you, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, the TikTok that got me was you couldn't stand up straight without throwing up.
See, if I just stand like this, I won't get any of it. I have to stand like this. There's no stopping it. I have to stand like this in order to feel okay. The second I stop. My DoorDash guy texted me. Side note, he was like, yeah, the line's pretty long. I'm gonna text you immediately when I get your order, and I promise I'll text you when I'm on my way. I just like I've never gotten a text from my DoorDash delivery man. Anyways, I am so hungover.
That was the one. I went through a bunch when you first got hired, and I was like, all right, like I get it, I understand, but then you're like, you're hunched over and you were like, nope.
Every time I see
nope. And I was like, that is, you know, fucking funny and relatable. And the culotta too. I feel like
I started a little fucking craze with that shit.
That was what I was like. Oh, I was like, this girl's gonna make her own brand, her own merch, her own drink, her own. Because if you can do that, like.
I know,
before
it's still
ever.
To this day.
I mean, that was before anything.
That was
before Barstool. It was before like.
Like I had like 90,000 followers or something, and then every day I'm tagged in like 500 stories of people drinking these. I stopped promoting it because like Duncan, like fuck you, but they didn't help me.
What the fuck, Duncan?
Like fuck you.
How is that not called like the Brianna Culotta or whatever?
I don't know. Don't even get me started on that. So I stopped promoting it, but like still every day I'm tagged in it. I go to Miami this weekend to do my college tour. They have culottes waiting for me in the fridge. They all got their own culottes. I was like, this is so crazy.
I mean, I'm sure Duncan's like, we can't be associated with this.
I know.
But it's like, stop being fucking pussies.
I know. At least
get down with the culotta.
Like clearly it's working.
Yes. They're also happy to just ride the fucking free promotion with you.
Yeah,
but
I
it's
know.
like,
Yeah, I kind of
how much bigger could it be? No, but like, if you try to monetize everything, if everything is a sponsorship, if everything is, then you lose the organic. You know, it's
I've
like,
never done I don't think I've ever done an ad on my TikTok. Maybe like one or two.
you should
People
probably
love
work a
that.
couple in though.
Yeah, but like I
know
can't.
it's such a fine line.
I know.
It's like,
I know.
You know.
One day. One day.
How many followers do you have now? 1.3.
1.3. Yeah.
1.3. And what do you have on the other platforms?
I have 260 on Instagram. Twitter I don't use, but I have like 65.
Yeah, Twitter. It's so funny. Like everyone at Barstool in the beginning put our eggs in the Twitter basket. Like the one that means fucking nothing.
'cause
And
you
it's
can't
the worst
make money.
addiction. It's
I
the
know.
worst for you. There's no money. And we were like, Twitter.
I know Twitter it is. Yeah, no, I really just use Instagram and TikTok's all I use. But I'm focusing on YouTube because I'm realizing I need to like make actual like content that lasts and like people can actually watch and get to know me like this.
Right.
Instead of
right.
just like 2 seconds.
Yeah, I mean that feels to me like the next step of like showing people the full package. But I mean, like the possibilities are like endless with you. Do you get that? Like
I know.
Like what's like your plan? If you like, what's the like you just said? So you want to make content like this, right?
Yeah, yeah.
But is there anybody? Like, do you have an agent? Do you have a manager? Do you have? Yeah, none of that.
No.
That's something I kind of thought about too. I never did that myself.
Yeah.
And I do think in some ways it harmed me, but in some ways, when your brand is being a normal person, you stay normal.
I know. I know.
But like,
it's like a fine line and you don't know when to cross it. I don't know. My plan, I mean, down the road, I want to have like my own show, but I don't want to be in it. I want to write. But in this realm of the world, I want to do like a talk show type of thing with me and like big names next to me. Kind of get away from like I want to do my co-hosting podcast where I'm with other people, but I feel like I want to turn my podcast show like into a show instead of a podcast. Everyone has a fucking podcast
I know.
now.
I mean, I always tell people like, if I was starting now, I wouldn't do a podcast.
Yeah, no.
I would do like short videos, like something, certainly video content, short form.
People can't consume podcasts anymore either.
It's not. It's just, and there's too many. It's,
There's-
like, it's
everyone
crazy,
has
but
one.
it's too late. You know,
Yeah.
unless you're fucking. Like,
Unless you
the
already have
funniest
this huge
or-
platform
yeah.
and then you go into it. But it's
and
just
you like
different.
steal market share, and people like will stop listening to one for
Yeah.
yours. Everyone has their rotation already. You know. What do you think though about like? I mean, how long can you keep up with this current iteration of Brianna Chickenfry?
This is a lot on my body. I said before we started that I've been sick for like 5 months. This college tour is taking a lot on me, and it's because I didn't know the extent of it, right? So I went into it thinking it wasn't going to be something crazy. And then I go and I meet all these people and I don't want to disappoint them. So I'm like, all right, you buy me a shot. I have to take it. You're doing all this. You want me to drink. You want me to put on my party animal. You want me to put on this show, which I can and I will, but I can't keep doing it every night. And I can't, like, there needs to be a line where I'm like, okay, I am a party girl, but I'm also this.
human.
I'm a human. I'm not a machine that
Yeah.
you just pump alcohol in and
Yeah.
out of me. And I think I'm starting to realize that. And we're having a meeting actually like next week of how we can make this better for me and not just like when I go on these college tours, I'm a caged monkey. Like they put me on these tables and it's just people waiting for me and looking at me like, do this, do that. I'm taking video of you. So we just need to do it better, but we weren't prepared for how big it was. So
When you are on like a table like that and that's the scene, are you what are you thinking? What are you feeling? Is that like a
well,
fuck yes or like a,
feel
oh
bad.
my god, I hate, like, get me out of here?
No, I feel bad, and then I go in and I take a picture with every single person. I take a video with every single person. I talk to them about their problems and their mom, and it's
a
like,
lot.
okay, well, it does have to come to a point where I need to realize and recognize I can't do that anymore. But I never want to do that.
This is what I was talking about with like earlier, when there's gonna come a day where you are like, I can't talk to you about your mom right now. I gotta go. Like I'm here
Yeah.
for fucking 4 hours, and then that one person is like, Brianna Chickenfry was a bitch to me.
I know,
and it's
that's what I'm
like,
so scared for.
I know, and that's where it's like, and then you get a little bit hardened and you put up a little bit of a defense, and it's hard to stay like truly pure and good
I know.
and nice and well-intentioned, because like for those people, that's their one night with you.
Yeah.
And they want it. And you're like, I did this 4 nights in a row, 5 nights in a row, 7 weeks in a row.
I know.
And it's a very hard balance. But like, I think even just trying to always please everybody will like shine through almost.
I think
you know?
so too. I think so too. And like, I'll always want to, because I'm very like aware that these people give me everything that I'm doing. So like, I want to talk to you. I want to take a picture with you. But at the end of the day, like, I'm still a person and I can't do that for 7 hours straight every day. So, I mean,
self-awareness,
I think
man,
they
it's
will
key.
realize that too at a point.
And you're like a baby to be going through all this.
Yeah,
you know
it's
what I
really
mean?
scary.
It's like, so when people say, I don't know if you said it on camera or off, but you said people think you're 28.
Yeah.
Because like you carry yourself in that
Yeah.
way. But it's like
I'm really not.
you should be like blowing off class and taking naps and shit. Instead,
know.
you're like,
Now-
I gotta go on tour, I gotta sell my merch, I gotta do my podcast.
Yeah.
The fact that you do a solo podcast
I know.
is like, that was another thing that tipped me off. And I was like, not many people can do that.
Yeah.
Where you just, press record and go, and it's good enough and
That was really
captivating
scary.
enough. Like that, most people physically can't do it. They talk for 2 minutes and they're like, I'm done.
I
You
know,
what I mean?
I know.
So there's something about it where like you do have that maturity, but you're...
Well, I went from, I would say in the past 2 or 3 months, I went from like having so much free time and just like recording my podcast, whatever, kind of like having time to chill, to I got something to do every second
Every
now.
step of
And
the day,
like,
yeah.
I'm like, do I need an assistant? Like, who am I becoming? This is
I know,
crazy.
but that's what I mean is like,
I'm
you
just, like,
probably
always
do
on.
need an
Yeah.
assistant, and you need a full-time producer, and you need,
I know. It's just so fast.
in order to be, that, like to fulfill your potential.
That's what I'm saying. Like, to be the
Like-
best version of myself, I need to like start recognizing, okay, I'm not that girl I was 2 months ago. Still the same person, but different level. Need people to help me.
And like, you take care of the business because I want to be doing the creative shit.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
you take care of, organizing the logistics of my photo shoot so I can just show up and be cool with the people.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, a lot of people
And-
don't realize how much goes into like
No, they
the
don't understand
social
any
media.
of
They
it.
have no idea. They're like, you turn your camera on, you do this. Like, you have the best job in the world.
Fuck
You have
you.
no idea what we
No
go through,
idea,
what we have to
yeah.
do, and especially mentally is the most fucked up job in the world.
That's I think like the biggest thing that I worry about when I watch all the young people coming up. Robbie, Rhea, you, like it tore me to pieces, and I was like a full adult
Yeah.
and like seemingly supposed to be having like my head on straight. If I was going through some of the shit in like still my formative years, don't they say your brain's still developing until you're like 25?
Yeah.
You guys aren't even fucking full humans yet.
I know.
And you got to deal with like the good and the bad and the hype and the hate and the.
So many eyes on me.
Do you talk about? Are you in therapy?
Nope,
No.
I'm still a little bit too scared to hop into that. I
Yeah.
know I need to, but then I'm like, my trauma and my mental illness makes me me, and
No,
I'm
it
so
doesn't.
scared if
No,
it
it
fixed
doesn't,
me,
though.
if
No,
I
no,
fix
no, no.
myself, that I won't be cool
I
anymore.
know exactly what you're saying. That is like the
Just
most
denial.
classic cliche thing in comics, in
Yeah.
actors. Like, what people like me because I am an alcoholic, because I have a fucked up, whatever. It's like,
Yeah,
no,
yeah.
they don't.
I
They
know.
really don't.
I know.
Like, that's something that, you have that's a part of you, but that's not like why they like you.
Yeah.
Like, you have to let that go
I
because
know.
you will, you'll crash
Crumble.
and burn
I
if
know.
you
I
just
know.
be like, I'm gonna stay fucked up on purpose.
I know. I know. That is a
but-
bizarre thing to think about. I always am like, no, I'll stay bad because like it's
Yeah,
working, but
don't
it's not
do
gonna
that.
turn
No.
out well if I do.
So you think like a couple more years of touring and partying, or is it something you're trying to
Yeah.
just
the-
transition into?
I mean, the partying, it kind of is. I like it. I mean, I do. I'm also 22, so it's like these are the years that I should be partying
right,
and
right,
having
yeah,
fun.
if
Yeah.
you're doing this when you're like 35, it starts to kind of be like,
like,
well,
oh,
wait a minute,
that's
have you,
creepy and a
like-
problem.
Yeah, yeah, it's
Yeah.
like maybe we should have some personal growth
Yeah.
here.
No, I think I'm just gonna do a year of my college tour. I really only wanted to do the fall, but I'm like, I'd be an idiot to just end it
gotta
after the
keep this
spring. I
pumping.
gotta keep going. It's
Yeah,
pumping. It's going.
Yeah.
It's helping. So I'm gonna do it for like a year, and I'm just gonna see where it takes me grow. And while I'm doing my tour, I'm gonna do a lot of other things so that I can get more eyes on it.
Have you thought about making the tour like a podcast, like a live podcast, or a show rather than just like, I'm gonna party with you guys?
Yeah, but it's like,
Because these people, they fucking love
I
you.
know.
Like, they will watch you and listen to you do anything. You don't have to be the dancing monkey.
I know. I have
Like
to
if-
realize that too. I just said I have too much. I feel like they have such high expectations for me
Mm-hmm.
where I'm like, I don't want to let anyone down. And then I'm scared if I do a live show, like they won't like me anymore. So it's just crazy.
I know. I'm like, I hear everything you're saying without having ever gone to your level. But I get it all.
Mm-hmm.
And like, you could fucking read a book to them. And
I know.
Be like, oh
and
my
see,
God,
I
chicken
know
fry!
that. I know that, but it's like, there's two levels of my brain where it's like, you could do that, but then it's like, no, you can't.
But like, it's just so like 50-50.
Yeah,
you know,
no,
like,
I
still,
slowly am. I
still
slowly
can
am.
party, but like, you know, for the first half, we're gonna like sit down and have an interview or talk or you know, do a segment or whatever. I mean, the real reason I'm even doing this interview is to get to Grace O'Malley. Like, she's just, you're just my in to talk to her.
She's fucking awesome.
She's your road dog. She's your number one.
I wouldn't be able to do any of this. She's like my only person. We've been best friends since we were 10. The second I moved to the suburbs, I found her and we were just like inseparable. She moved, still we're best friends this whole time. I called her when I dropped out of school and I'm like, hey, moving to New York, want to come? Yep, sure.
Down.
Moved with me immediately. We're roommates. Like, we do everything together. She keeps me sane. And if I didn't have that one person, I think maybe I would be a bitch and it would get to my head and I would think I was something that I'm not. So when I see like...
She keeps you grounded?
Yeah.
She'll be like, shut the fuck up. Like,
yeah. No, even just like having her by my side, I'm like, oh, I'm still normal. Like, I have my best friend with me.
Yeah,
like,
that's huge.
It's cool. And when I look at like all the people doing this shit, I meet so many influencers or whatever, and they have like this huge entourage of like people that they just met. I'm like, you're gonna crash and burn. You're probably a loser. And then I see people that are cool and they have their best friend that they've known forever with them. I'm like, you're doing good. I like you.
Yes.
And I'm like, she's always gonna be with me, and she's gonna be really big on her own at one point.
Yeah.
But we'll always be with each other.
Yeah, that is like you got a little like little entourage vibe in you.
Yeah.
Like, you know, you've got like your hometown friend while you're, you know, going out and making it. She's making a name for herself. You do it together as this like, you know, tag team.
Yeah, it's awesome.
That I think is like invaluable.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Like so many people don't. Even like my friends were supportive, like getting me to Barstool, like, and now they almost just kind of make fun of me for it. Like they like blow it off. But to have someone like who is a friend before it to go through you with you is, you know, like that's something a lot of people don't have.
Yeah, she's like my therapist too, kind of.
Yeah.
She knows everything. Everything I go through, I'm going to her. And if I didn't have that, I'd probably be dead right now.
It sounds like, and like, so you're with everything with your family. How has that been in like adult life now? Being at Barstool, making a name for yourself. Are you connected with your sisters? Are your parents involved in this, or is it all you're kind of just on your own?
I'm like my relationship with my parents is weird. Like, we love each other. They're great parents. They gave me a great life, but like we're not very close where like I don't just call them to tell them about my day or tell them something that I'm going through type of relationship. It's like I know they're there when I need them and like I see them and I love them. They love me. My sisters, I'm close with one of them, the one that like wasn't all fucked up. The other two, like, you know, still learning, and it's like kind of hard to forgive. Just that type of shit. But now I'm realizing that I'm older, how much seeing all that shit when I was younger fucked me up. Like, I didn't realize how crazy it was, and now I'm like, oh, I have all these problems because of all this shit I saw when I was fucking 8. So, I don't know, I have a lot of resentment that I need to get rid of. Working through it, though. I'm really close with my my parents and my cousins, which is good.
Even recognizing that. I mean, I think what I've just heard in this whole conversation is like your ability to recognize things, good or bad, or, you know, the perception of like, to know that was a thing that I went through that's stuck with me. It's fucking me up a little bit, or it's leading to this. And
I'm really
even
aware.
just identifying that at 22.
Yeah,
22.
Yeah.
Is like so ahead of the game.
Yeah, I'm not fixing it yet, but I'm aware of it, and
I mean,
I know
it's kind
it's
of the
there.
first step. And like, you're not gonna fix it overnight anyway.
Yeah,
so like,
no, not at all.
At certain times, but that's like, you know, again, wise beyond your years and all that. Have you ever thought about like taking a break from social media, or do you just feel like you can't now?
I've really never thought about taking a break. No, now I'm like it's all or nothing. Like I can't stop, and if I do, then I'm done with it.
Yeah, I would say like at your age, I would feel like, even for me, I still feel like I'm gonna keep going hard for like a few more years, and then maybe scale it back or transition or whatever. But this is the time to go like pedal to the metal. But I mean, that's also something to be aware of, that you've grown up like with a phone in your hand since like birth. You know what I mean? Since from day one, you're worrying about followers and engagement. Like that's probably not normal either. You know?
No, definitely
so
not.
Like that. I think they're gonna look back one day and be like, do you believe they used to be on social media like 24 hours a day?
I know.
Like they did that all. They didn't control it. They didn't limit it.
It's gonna be weird to look back
because it's not
on.
normal
It's
for your
not
brain
healthy.
and
It's
not
not
normal for your
healthy.
heart, and like it's just not having a normal life. Another thing that I regretted is I wanted to have a normal life, and I was like hell bent on having a normal life when I should have just acknowledged this is not a normal life.
Nope.
And that doesn't mean you need to become something you don't want to be, but just acknowledge that it's not a 9 to 5 and it's not going to be a normal family situation, and so like
You
accept
wanted
that
both.
and I tried to have both, and it got me neither because it was like I'm failing over here, and there's no way to really do that. So like
I'm kind of in the same position right now.
yeah, it
Like,
sounds similar,
I've
and
had-
probably way worse for you because again, it's like a much
Yeah.
faster trajectory than I ever had.
Yeah, because I have a boyfriend of like 3 years where it's like it's so normal, and it's like I met him in college before everything, and now I have this like I'm just like have this whole new life where it's
Yeah.
like, okay, like I still love him and it's awesome and we're together, but it's like I'm a different person, and it's hard for him to recognize because it's hard for anyone that isn't doing what we're doing to recognize
Right.
it. So
Like we
I'm
said,
trying to be
nobody can
normal
understand.
and trying to be this big superstar that I want to be at the same time. So it's really hard to balance.
And there's like no.
There's
I
no
don't know
book.
the
There's no
answer.
book
There's no
to tell
book,
us what to
like,
do. There's
yeah.
no one to look to.
No, and like again, even anything I can impart, it's like I don't know what it's
Everyone's
like to do it in the year
situation's
2020. Mine was 2015, and it was a fraction of So there's no like right or wrong answer, but it's definitely something that you stumble your way through in
Yep.
a way, and you'll find like the right people
Yeah.
will be there, and if they're not, then they're not the right people. Whether
Yeah.
it's friends, family, love, like whatever.
Exactly. I have a hard time making new friends, though. I'm really bad at that. I don't make any new friends. Like everyone I meet, I'm like,
You're bad because of what? Like
I don't know. Everyone I meet, I just automatically am like, oh, I'm not gonna like you. So I
Yeah.
don't know, because I just have this.
I have that no new friends mentality.
Yeah,
is one,
I want
yeah.
everyone to be like my friends from home, which is such a bad mentality.
'Cause they can't be.
They can't be. No one's gonna
Yeah.
be like those people you grew up with.
And also, you might be shutting out someone who is.
I know,
You
I
know?
know. So I need to get better at that. That's the one thing I'm going to work on is making new friends.
I know, but it's also such a weird thing to do at this stage of the game.
I know.
Like where.
Do they like you? Do they just want to be your friend because you're who you are? Type of shit.
Yeah.
It's like, all right, now I'm just gonna have one friend for the rest of me and Grace till I die.
Just marry Grace
That's
and
it.
call
Literally,
it a fucking day.
People think we're lesbian. Everyone
Yeah.
thinks we're dating. It's bizarre. It's so funny though.
What was the? I mean, I feel like you were making a name for yourself regardless, but jumping on BFFs.
Oh, yeah.
Was like
Huge, huge for
slingshot
me.
for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, right away you're thrown into the fire with Dave Portnoy.
Mm-hmm.
And I would imagine Josh Richards to you was someone you knew through Vine or through TikTok and was like, oh my God, Josh Richards, like all these followers. And next thing you know, you're like a co-host with them, really. Like,
Yeah, that was bizarre.
1/3 of the show.
Yeah,
that
it
was
was
another
bizarre.
time where I recognized you weren't nervous. You jumped right in. You knew how much to talk and how much not to talk, but
Yeah.
you like slid in seamlessly there.
Yeah. What a lot of people say and what they're stupid for saying, I know my role on BFFs. Like, if I were to go in there and I were trying to talk over Dave, talk over Josh, or like be the main character, I wouldn't still be on the show.
Right.
Like, I was brought in to be a mediator, to like fact check for Dave and to like be the female perspective. I wasn't brought in. I mean, it's Dave Portnoy. Any show that you're on with Dave Portnoy, he's gonna be the main fucking star.
Ain't nobody talking over Dave Portnoy. I
Exactly.
tried it for years. It doesn't work.
Exactly, and people are like, "Well, she just needs to talk more and shine more. She's so
that's good.
different." Yeah, yeah.
It's good that they want that.
Yeah,
you know
yeah.
what I mean?
It is good
Yeah.
because they love me.
Yeah.
BFFs, the love I get from BFFs is crazy, which I wouldn't think I would because I really don't showcase myself a lot on that. But I know my role and I play it perfectly on BFFs, and that has helped me so much. When I got asked to be on BFFs, I was like, what the fuck? I'd never talked to Dave before. I think I had said 2 words to him.
Who asked?
Dave.
Asked? Oh, Dave did. Okay.
Yeah, well-
to be like, this is a formal, like, not a guest appearance. Like, you're going to come on every week now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, so I was on like the 3rd mic, like over in the producer chair. I didn't
Yep.
even have a camera. And then I got a camera because my reactions were good, whatever. And then Dave was finally like, you want to sit next to me? I was like, yeah, kind of. Like, sure. And then I sat next to him, and then it just gradually got better, and the chemistry and relationship between all 3 of us got better. And now it's like, I don't think not to sound like suck my dick or anything, but I don't think BFFs would have stood a chance if there wasn't a third mic, whether it was me or someone else. Like, I think
just those two.
They needed someone.
And you had a female.
They needed someone,
someone who knows that space. Like, that was.
They just needed
it was
someone.
a perfect
Or
fit.
it would have been the Dave Portnoy show.
I don't know if you didn't have nerves or if you hit it well, but anything I ever saw, like, right away, you're like giving it back to Dave. You're talking shit to Josh. You weren't afraid to call either of them out for whatever their, whatever it was. Was that something you were doing confidently, or something you were doing like, oh fuck, I got to do this and put on a front? Like,
I thought I was scared. I thought I was super scared of Dave, and then once I met him and talked to him, we have the same humor, and he reminds me of a lot of people from home. So I'm just like, I feel like I know him. I'm like, I know you. I can fuck with you because I know you're not going to be mad or take it personally. And you shit on me, so why can't I shit on you type of thing. And I know he appreciates that. So it's like, I'm not that scared to do it. And Josh, I looked down on those type of TikTokers. So I was
you were like, I'm not impressed?
Like, you're Josh. But now I know him and love him.
Yeah, he's a good kid.
Death.
Like, he is like
he's
the
an
anti-TikToker.
monster. Yeah.
Smart business guy, like, friendly, normal.
Amazing.
Like, knows that he looks ridiculous.
Yeah, he knows. He's very aware. That's why I'm like, you're awesome.
Self-awareness is
It's
just
key.
the key to
It's
everything
such
in
key.
life,
Yeah,
man.
really
but
is.
the fact that you even can do all that, like, I hope you realize how that level of confidence is, like, very, very rare.
Yeah.
That quiet, the right type of confidence, not the cocky, annoying kind. Like, they're just kind of like, I know I can fuck with Dave because he's not going to, fire me. He's not going to beat me up. He's just, like...
Maybe, he'll say fuck you.
But a lot of people can't, they're not able to just slide into that. So I think, you were thrown, I want to say you were thrown to the fire, but it's not like, it was like sink or swim. There was never any sinking. Like, you just swam the whole fucking time. There was never a moment where you like crashed and burned. You never
Maybe
were
it's
like,
coming.
Well, everybody has their.
We'll
like,
see.
It will.
Yeah.
Maybe not like totally crash and burn, but
it will come.
you will have some failures. You'll have some like flops, but. Or maybe not. I don't know. You got some crazy fucking fans who sound like they'll fuck with you through everything.
We'll see. I know.
But, it's been awesome to see so far. It's been only a couple years, too. So we'll have to do this like 4 or 5 more times before your career's all said and done.
I know. It's crazy to think about. It's really only been like a year since I've walked through the Barstool doors and stuff.
A year? I thought it was at least 2. Holy shit.
No, May. Yeah, no, it's been I got my New York apartment in a month. So it's really been 11 months since I've lived here.
I would say probably aside from Call Her Daddy, like that's got to be the greatest rookie year in Barstool history.
Crazy.
And even I'm going to give you the title overall because like the way you've engaged with everybody and the way that you like are in the mix and friendly to everybody
I think
and
that's
like
important,
picked
too.
up multiple shows, worked with other people. I think that's the greatest rookie year in Barstool history and one of the greatest in like internet history. It's crazy.
Thank you.
And it's not even really a rookie year because you've been doing it for so long. But,
Yeah,
it all makes sense too, from the childhood, the good and the bad of childhood, the skills and like the shit you did socially and professionally. It all adds up, and it's good to see that like it worked.
Yeah, it is.
Because it all
could have
paid
been a
off
big
in a
fail.
good way.
Could have been a big fail.
What do you think? We'll wrap up with this. What do you think? Was there a plan B? Plan B? Or was there like a fallback, a fail-safe?
Or
what do you think? Like,
no, there really wasn't. I was like, I'm doing this, or I'm not. I'm doing
all right,
this.
what
I'm not.
tomorrow? Let's say, knock on wood, God forbid, you get canceled, you're done. People don't want you on the
my biggest
internet.
fear, yeah.
How would you pivot? Because I do think you're like a survivor. Like you wouldn't.
Oh, yeah,
You
yeah,
wouldn't
for
just
sure.
like.
I would try
Take it
to. What I would want to do is just go find a rich husband and just be like, "Okay, I'm good. I'll raise some kids."
There's always an OnlyFans.
Yeah,
you can always go down that road.
There is. No, I hate myself too much to do that. But I would find a rich husband because I want to raise kids. I think I'd be a sick mom.
Yeah.
But if not that, I would probably go back to school.
Yeah.
Because I really
Which is
enjoyed.
crazy.
I kind of enjoyed what I did. So
Yeah.
I always.
You also went to the most obscure school
obscure
of all time.
Obscure. No one even knows.
What's it? Brown
Baldwin
Mercer?
Wallace.
Mercer?
Baldwin Wallace. Nobody knows.
that is the
Nobody knows.
fakest shit I've
Oh,
ever
I know.
heard.
There's like 4,000 people there, but
That's more than I would have even guessed. I would have thought there was like 100 people there.
it was tiny.
So you
tiny.
want a family though, huh?
Oh yeah, for sure.
You think that there's like, are you gonna try to do all of this and then like retire from it and do family life? Or are you gonna try to do it all?
I
at
think
the same time? That's so far down the road. You shouldn't even have an
so
answer
far
to that.
down the road. But I mean,
yeah.
it definitely like 30 and up. Like
Yeah,
I'm gonna
yeah,
do this
no
for as
rush.
long as I can, and then
You're gonna be so fucking rich. You're gonna do this for so long and make so much money.
I hope so. Everyone
Yeah.
keeps saying that. I'm like, what the fuck? I don't know.
I mean, it's
We'll
going
see.
super, super well for 11 months.
Well, yeah, we'll see what the
So-
next 11 bring.
Yeah.
Yeah,
All
I'm
right, Well,
excited.
congrats on all the success.
Thank you.
Don't forget about the little people on the way up, all right?
Oh, never, never. These are my people that helped me get to the top.
And for the people who might not know, what do we got? We got Plan Brie.
Yeah, we have Plan Brie,
BFFs.
BFFs, because we got High, my YouTube, Brianna Chickenfry, a lot of new stuff coming out. My college tour is all on that. So if you want to keep up with me, just follow me on everything. There's something different on each platform.
That's also a huge part of it. Like the fact that you do so many things
Yeah,
is like
a lot.
sign of like a lot of hard work that people probably don't recognize. It's, oh, you're just
Yeah.
talking into a mic, but
Yeah, no,
doing
we do
4
a lot
different
over
things
here.
plus a tour, all that. It's very, very impressive. So
Yeah, thank
as
you.
someone who has watched, some people come in and they just let it like ride the wave and use the platform, and then there are people who come in who like enhance
to
it and make it
benefit,
better.
yeah.
And you know, you've done that, and I appreciate it as someone who's helped grow it. So
Thank
good
you.
work. Thank you.
Thank you.
Great stuff.
All right, thanks for watching Behind the Blog with Brianna. You can check out the playlist of all the other Barstool employees that we've already interviewed. Also, make sure that you drop a comment below on the next Barstool employee you want to see me sit down and have a conversation with. Make sure you subscribe so that you get all the new episodes, and make sure that you click the little bell icon so you get a notification when a new one comes out. We'll see you next month for Behind the Blog.